in '82, I was serving with 3 Para and went down to the Falklands, fought in the Falklands. 20 days after returning, I managed to crash my motorbike and break my spine. So I'm paralysed from my chest down. I've tried not to let that get in the way of anything, and I think part of that is the military discipline that you learn. If you can apply that to your disability, it makes it a lot easier.
So my name's James Cameron. I am Chief Executive Officer of Mission Motorsport, the Forces Motorsport Charity, and Mission Community. It was coming back from Afghanistan in 2011 when I was aware, particularly, some of it through personal experience and that my own family had experienced. I was particularly driven to support those whose lives had been impacted by joining the military and through that commitment to serving the country and through military operations.
We had guys that were being repatriated with injuries. They happened to be in Badger, the squadron which James was in command of at the time. It was sort of decided that a track day would occur, and some of these guys that were on long-term sick would attend the track day with the rest of the squadron in tow. And effectively, that's kind of where the genesis of it was.
I thought I was a lost cause at one point, and I feel that what they've done for me is pulled me out of that hole and made me feel good about myself for a change.
And the other thing which everybody needs to do as they leave the armed forces is find their own community, their own tribe.
They've left the services, they're missing that component in their life that they're used to, whether it's the banter, whether it's just the camaraderie. When we get those individuals together, it works.
We get on so well. It's like a massive family, and we camp together, we work together, and we laugh together as well.
There is no disabled category in motorsport. You adapt the vehicle instead of have a separate category for those who have got different needs. And that's incredibly empowering.
I never thought I'd have a racing licence, and let alone go in a factory Morgan racing car. Other than the birth of my children, I think it was the best thing that's happened to me.
Our veteran community is a strategic national asset, economically as well as in societal terms. Those who've served are more likely to volunteer. That's not always carried across when you watch a BBC drama that will portray a veteran first and foremost as damaged or mad or sad. But the vast majority of us, we're impacted by our service. It wouldn't be human to have been subjected to those sort of tensions without being impacted by our service. But that doesn't mean that your post-trauma results in stress or a disorder. Post-traumatic growth, I think, is the thing that most of us have experienced. And if we can harness that for the betterment and the good of society, then ultimately, I think that's our aim.
I first became involved with Mission Motorsport through my husband, who's actually a beneficiary himself. He was medically discharged from the army and has various medical issues, and the guys here I attribute to actually saving his life. These guys picked him up when he was in a bad place, and I kind of thought, I actually want to get involved, and if I can do something to help others like they've helped Alex, then that would be a really good thing.
Some wonderful stories of people who've been able to turn their world around and become successful parents, members of society, and breadwinners, and change the perceptions of themselves just as much as we're seeking to change the perceptions in society.
I didn't quite understand the power of the sport, but having been to events and seen people, you can have people come that have the most complex needs and they don't want to be around people and they don't want to engage. But you put them in a car and they're suddenly lit up. You see them engage with people, you see them grow in confidence, and it's just, some of them are just so awe-inspiring, it's really is remarkable.
Our understanding of Remembrance Weekend has really evolved. We're now without First World War veterans, and that narrative of the trenches and what happened over 100 years ago is sort of fading in our collective national memory. But we have a population of beneficiaries who at that time of year are thinking about a much more personal thing, and they're thinking about their own peers, their own families and their own experiences.
He's volunteered at events, and this year he's actually raced at Race of Remembrance as a driver, and it's the first time in 3 years he's actually done a remembrance service.
10 years now have been running Race of Remembrance up at Anglesey. It's now a multi-venue, it happens at other sites as well. There's a karting Race of Remembrance at Thruxton, we run online races. It's now become how motorsport marks Remembrance Weekend. And for the front rank who are pinning medals on and putting berets on that perhaps have been in a dusty drawer for many years, you're reframing remembrance, but in a way which is approachable for them and framed with an activity where they all come together to be able to do it. But there are too few occasions in modern life where you get to be truly mindful. But to be silent for 2 minutes when all you can hear is the sound of the waves on the cliff below and you're doing it on the falling notes of a bugle amongst that audience, it's incredibly powerful. So in this moment of solemnity, in this sort of deliberate act of let's do this together and experience these feelings, you then have this let's go racing, this wonderful lift at the end, because you can't continue to stand there because there's a motor race needs to happen, and 50 cars have got to find their way past, on their way out to go and do the first lap. And it really helps some people who haven't been able to approach that occasion, those emotions and the thing that it represents, but it reframes it in a way that they can. And every year we find that amazingly restorative. But it's been a real learning journey for me after the military. But all I've really been doing is taking the lessons that I learned and the values that were instilled in me during service and then applying it to later life. And if that's being successful and that can be inspiring and inspirational for others, then that's what I hope to achieve.
Let's go racing!